Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you to Shri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business Economics. In this lecture, we will continue with Chapter 2, that is Theory of Demand and Supply, and its all units will be covered in the coming series of lectures. So let's begin. Let's see the learning outcomes of this chapter. So at the end of this unit, we'll be able to understand the meaning of utility, that is want satisfying power of a good. We'll try to describe how consumers try to maximize their satisfaction by spending on different goods. The goods can be visible goods and invisible goods. So basically, invisible goods means nothing but services. We'll try to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility with various examples, describe the concept of consumer surplus. So basically, if I give you a brief description about consumer surplus, what consumer is ready to spend and what consumer is actually spending, the difference between these two is known as consumer surplus. What consumers are ready to spend and what he actually spends. The difference between these two is known as consumer surplus. We'll try to learn the meaning of IC curve, that is the indifference curve, price line, which is also known as budget line, and show how these help in explaining the consumer's equilibrium. So this was about the learning objectives of this chapter. The first topic we are going to cover today is the nature of human wants. Students, we all know that human wants are unlimited. As and when you cover a want, a new want will generate automatically. So, all desires, taste, and motives of human beings are called wants in economics. Wants may arise due to elementary and psychological causes. Since the means are limited, the resources to satisfy wants are limited, we have to choose between the want. So basically, those wants which are urgent will be chosen first. Those wants which are urgent are chosen first in priority to other wants. I believe you must have understood till here. So all wants of human beings exhibit some characteristic features. The first feature of human wants is wants are unlimited in number and they are never completely satisfied. Mark this, never completely satisfied. Want differs in intensity. So some wants are intense wants and some want you can delay for the near future. Each want is satiable, that is need to be satisfied. It's possible to satisfy all wants or each wants. Wants are competitive. That means what? That they compete with each other for satisfaction because resources are scarce to satisfy all wants. I'll quote an example over here. If somebody is ill, so he needs medicine as well as you need a biscuit, expensive biscuit. Now you should understand one thing over here. Supposingly you have limited resources, limited money to satisfy these two wants. Either you can go with an expensive exclusive biscuit or you may choose to buy a medicine. In this case, in this instance, my preference will be medicine because I feel that the intensity of medicine is more as compared to biscuit. The urgency of medicine is more as compared to biscuits. Is it okay with you? Let's see the fifth point. Wants are complementary. That means what? That some wants can be satisfied only by using more than one good or group of goods. So wants generally complement each other. Supposingly you want a, a, a meal of lunch, a meal for lunch. In this case, you can't have only bread in isolation. Along with bread, you need vegetables, you need pulses, you need rice, maybe curd, etc. So wants are complementary. They complement each other. You can't have a particular group in isolation. Many a times it is possible that you could have, but not every time. Generally, wants complement each other in combination with two products. Wants complements each other. That is, a combination of products could be used. A combination of products could be used. The next is wants are alternative. So there are various alternatives available to satisfy your wants. And wants are subjective and relative. So yes, it is true. The wants are subjective and relative. It differs from person to person. Some person may give more importance to that want, but some other person may not give that much importance to that want. Is it okay with you till here? The next concept is wants vary with time, place, and person. So it may happen that in the morning you want something different, in the evening you want something different. Want may also change when the place or location changes. And it also differs from person to person as we have mentioned. So wants vary with place. Supposingly, if it is a very cold place, if it is a very cold place, in that case, woolen clothes will be in demand. Some wants recur again, whereas others do not occur again and again. This is also possible. So, supposingly, the demand for food recur again and again. The demand for food recur again and again. But we do not buy a television or a refrigerator again and again in a consecutive manner. Okay. Few are the consumers who are habitual in nature. So if they are habitual of some particular product, it could be a merit product or a demerit product. In that case, they need that product. The want for that product rises. So habitual consumer demands the same product again and again. It is also affected by the income level of consumer, the taste and preferences of consumer, what kind of fashion going on in the society or economy, what kind of advertisements are floating in the market, and the social customs and values in the society. So we can say that if a consumer is having more income, generally his wants will be more as compared to a poor consumer. Many a time, students, it happens that want comes from social instinct, natural instincts, social obligation in the society, and to maintain the social status. So people generally buy a big house or a big car to maintain the social status in the society. The social status in the society. Okay, I believe all of you must have understood till here. We just seen the characteristics or the characteristic feature of human wants. Students, let's move ahead with another topic now. Classification of wants. The next topic is classification of wants. So basically, wants are classified into three different categories. The first category is necessaries, the another category is comforts, and the third is luxury. As you can see over here, that the first category is necessaries, the second category is comfort, and the third category is luxuries. Let's talk about necessaries. So necessaries are something which a consumer wants for livelihood. For livelihood. We can say that a healthy food, a shelter, that is house, clothing, medicines, clean water. These things are necessaries for consumer. These things are required for day-to-day living. It's not luxury. These things will not give a special comfort to the consumer. So let's begin this topic. Necessaries are those which are essential for living. Man cannot do well with the barest necessities of life alone. He requires some more necessaries to keep him fit for taking up productive activities. And students, let me tell you that these days there are a lot of equipments which has become the necessaries for daily life. These are called necessaries for efficiency. Like if you want to study, so you need notebooks, you need television, you need a laptop. You don't need a television for that. You need a laptop. Maybe some students need cell phone because they are watching lectures and videos on that. So there are another type of necessaries, and these are called conventional necessaries. By customs and traditions, people require some wants to be satisfied. I believe you understood. And over here, the barest necessaries means food, shelter, and clothing. So these days only food, shelter and clothing will not serve the purpose. We need clean air, we need clean water, we need medicines, we need a better lifestyle. And for that you need some comforts as well. So the second point in classification of want is Comforts. So what is comfort? So comforts refer to those goods and services which are not essential. You can do without these goods. It's okay. But which are required for a happy living. You require TV. You require refrigerator. You require a water cooler, a purifier. So it lies between the necessaries and luxuries. It is not so expensive goods, so it's not luxury. It will not give you something very bright for the future, but it is something which is more than necessaries. You require these products in your daily life so to maintain the standard of living. A decent car could be an example. So these things will give you some sort of comfort. Let's move to the third one, and that is luxuries. So these things are not required by everyone, and it is very tough to afford luxuries. So what are luxuries? So luxuries are those wants which are superfluous and very, very expensive. It's not everyone's cup of tea. If I talk about comforts, it could be you can include a normal mobile phone in comfort, but if you want luxury, that mobile phone should be an iPhone, or that laptop should be a MacBook. The TV should be a 60 inches TV. So they are not essential for a normal living. However, it may add efficiency to the consumer. So if you are using these products as luxuries, it will add efficiency in your daily life. A lot of your time will be saved. Utility hypothesis forms the basis for the theory of consumer behavior. From time to time, different theories have been advanced to explain consumer behavior and thus to explain the demand for the product. So I believe you are clear till over here. You must have understood the classification of wants and its three categories: necessaries, comforts, and luxuries. So luxuries are very expensive. Comforts will give you a good standard of living. And if I talk about necessaries, basic physiological need. I believe this concept is clear to all of you. The next concept is utility. So you should understand one thing over here, dear students. Want satisfying power of a good is known as utility. Every product is having utility, whether it is food, it is shelter, a car, a computer, a television, a mobile phone, every product is having its utility. So let's begin. Utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity. It is expected satisfaction to a consumer when he is willing to spend more money, or when he is willing to spend money on a stock of commodity which has the capacity to satisfy his wants. Utility is the anticipated satisfaction by the consumers that they derive from actual consumption of that goods or services. Utility can be measured in terms of utils. So utility can be measured in terms of utils. So basically we can say that utility is satisfaction. If a product is giving you more satisfaction, that means that product is having more utility as compared to any other product. But utility is a very subjective matter. Utility is very subjective. Utility or satisfaction is very subjective. That means what? That if some product is very expensive, it does not mean that product is having so much of utility. So only an expensive product doesn't means that the product is having so much of utility. Even a small product which is not so expensive may have utility. So a commodity has utility for a consumer even when it is not consumed. It is subjective entity and varies from person to person. A commodity has different utility for the same person at different places or at different point of time. So it may happen that a tea is having utility in the morning, but the same tea is not having utility in the afternoon when the sun is up. Example, a tea or coffee is having utility in the early morning, in the morning time, but the same tea or coffee, the same tea or coffee do not have similar utility in the afternoon when it is hot. I believe I'm making sense to all of you. It should be noted that the utility is not same thing as usefulness. No, not at all. See what happens that every product is not useful for everybody. It is very subjective. Some product may be useful to me, but that product can't be useful to you too, and vice versa. You must be liking some product. You must be inclined towards some product. You must wanted to have some product, to buy some product, but it doesn't mean that I also have usefulness of the same product. So for the economic standpoint, even harmful things like liquor to said to have utility because many of the people wants them. So we can write over here that demerit goods also have utility. Demerit goods also have utility. And in economics, the concept of utility is ethically neutral. So you can't say that this product is a good product or this product is a bad product. So demerit goods also have utility. There are two very important and significant theories over here. The first theory is marginal utility approach propounded by Sir Alfred Marshall, and another is indifference curve approach propounded by Hicks and Allen. Over here, as per the importance point of view, the indifference curve analysis is having more important concept, and this point number 2, that is indifference curve analysis, is more crucial in this chapter because it follows ordinal approach and Marshall follows cardinal approach. We'll be learning about the cardinal and ordinal approach in the coming time. Let's begin with point number 2.1, and that talks about marginal utility analysis. So this theory basically formulated by Sir Alfred Marshall, a British economist, and what actually he explains is a consumer spend his income on different goods and services so he attain maximum satisfaction. Okay, no problem. This theory is based on certain assumptions, but before starting the assumptions, let us understand the meaning of total utility and the meaning of marginal utility. Okay, so total utility. Before starting total utility, let's take some concepts and then we'll move ahead. Just write a consumer will be in equilibrium when he or she spends the given income on the purchase of different goods in such a way so as to maximize his or her total utility. So a consumer should spend his given income in such a way so as to maximize his total utility or total satisfaction. Let's continue. As a general rule, just write. The general rule is that the consumer will maximize total utility when he or she allocates or apportions the income, his or her income, among various set of commodities in such a way in such a way that the marginal, that is additional utility, the additional utility of the last rupee spent on each commodity is equal. Each commodity is absolutely equal. Okay, so students, I believe you must have understood till here. Now, what we are going to do is we'll be continuing further in another lecture. So, this was lecture number 2. I'll continue the further concepts in the coming lecture. And okay, so that's it for today. I believe you must have understood it well. We had done the last concept, that is marginal utility analysis. And in that, we had noted these notings or these terms. And let us wind up this class over here and we'll continue with another session. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.